What's going on, everybody? This is the Mills Factory Podcast. We're going to do a little fight recap on UFC 259 with Adesanya versus Blachowicz. Man, what a fight! I was yanked for this fight. Now, honestly, I'm going to be completely transparent. Izzy Adesanya, I don't understand why he's so good. Like, I watch him fight, and he's a good striker, but when you watch him, I don't understand why he is as good as he is against the guys that he goes up against. I don't get it. But watching this fight kind of opened my eyes a little bit to the Izzy craze. Honestly, watching him move up to 200 pounds to fight Jan, who walked in at much heavier than 200 pounds, he's probably 220 or so. It was an interesting fight, and honestly, I didn't follow Jan Blachowicz that long. The whole Dominic Reyes, John Jones ordeal. Look, this guy was underrated for sure. And watching this fight, a very technical fight, put a different perspective in my eyes for both fighters. And I think it should open up a lot of people's eyes to most fighters because Blachowicz has knockout power for sure. And Adesanya also has knockout power. But Adesanya is more of a little sniper. You know, he kind of reminds me of Conor McGregor a little bit in the ring. And one thing that I saw last night that I didn't see him do a lot in previous fights was throw that question mark kick. The kickboxing of Adesanya was on point for sure. It was he was doing damage to the legs, and those leg kicks are brutal. So I kind of expected halfway through this fight for Izzy to really break down Jan's legs and really do some serious damage there and end up sneaking in and getting him. You know, neither one of them really had strikes that were damaging to the other, but we saw Jan's leg really start to get red and start to swell up. You know, it wasn't those lower calf kicks. Now, if he was getting him with lower calf kicks, this fight would have been a lot shorter, I think, because Izzy's power is unreal. But I did like I liked his movement in the ring. I liked his kickboxing. I liked his setups were great. He just found somebody in Blachowicz that he couldn't really figure out. He didn't have the game plan to take him out like we expected him to. And Blachowicz, you know, I think we expected him to kind of come in and kind of, for lack of a better explanation, Ngannou to him, you know, just come in there and hit him hard like a freight train and knock him down. Kind of expected that to happen. A lot of the jabs that Blachowicz threw, Izzy, you just saw him kind of back up. They just kind of rolled off him. He was hitting him, but he wasn't doing big damage. He definitely wasn't stunning him. And then we saw the takedown attempt. Now, we don't really see Adesanya hit the ground much. He likes to keep it standing up. And that's a big man on top of you. And as somebody who gets murked at jiu-jitsu by big dudes, I can tell you that big dude laying on it is exhausting. It's a lot. So we saw some interesting positions there, and I think overall that Adesanya's performance was solid. It was. The thing is that they both did a great job at defending one another's attempts to knock him out. And at the end of the day, love it or hate it, that's sometimes just what you have to do to win. So they both had solid defense when it came to facing each other. And that's where it went. Now, in the post-press fight conference, they talk about the scorecards 10-8. There's no 10-8. There wasn't a single round in that fight that was 10-8. However, Jan did well. And when you look at the defending champion, they generally get the upper hand on the scorecards. If we go back to Usman versus Masvidal, boring fight. Dude, you could have fell asleep and that you would have missed nothing. Foot stomps. But he wins because he's defending champion. And you have to prove coming into that octagon that belt belongs to you. Jan doesn't have to prove anything other than you got to come get it. And he did an excellent job defending that. And moving forward, I think we saw Blachowicz as a more technical fighter in that fight than we've seen him yet. And that's a big respect to Blachowicz. And also with Adesanya, going into this fight, I didn't want Adesanya to win. Not because I don't like the dude, not because I don't think he wants to, be champ. I think I didn't want him to win because I don't want him to get the light heavyweight title, go back to middleweight, fight someone there, and then just hold up that division for another year. Because while he has been active, it's you're throwing in the mix. The UFC title fights haven't really been that active in the last year, and even though they've been putting on a lot of fights, more fights than another promotion, the titles just get held up. So I don't like that about it. I didn't want him to win based solely on that. Now, does that mean he's not going to fight John Jones? Yeah, that means he's not going to fight John Jones. But for Izzy to fight John Jones after that fight, I think the John Jones fight would have been much like this one. I think it would have been a cautious, technical battle to the end where we saw both fighters just actively defend the other one's strikes and takedowns. So, moving forward, I'm excited to see who Blachowicz goes up against next. I look forward to watching this guy fight again. Adesanya, I always do look forward to him fighting because he's just out there. He's just out there. But going into this fight, it was a different Adesanya that we've seen in the past. The entry to the octagon was different. He was very stoic in the arena. It wasn't that over the top confident Adesanya. Not saying he wasn't confident. I'm saying it wasn't the over the top confidence that we've seen from him. And honestly, I do like him at that weight class. He didn't seem slow. He didn't seem sluggish. I liked him at light heavyweight. So it's interesting to see going forward what's going to end up happening. I would like to see some of the guys below him come up to the 185 class. That would be, let's see someone else move up to meet him and see how that goes out. But moving forward, we got some other killer fights. I cannot wait for Ngannou and Miocic to go at it. I want to see Francis fight so bad. It drives me crazy that this man has not gotten any octagon time for like 2 years. He's fought like less than 2 minutes in 2 years. It's unreal. The guy is in the best shape of his life. He's a freaking murderer in the ring. And I want to see it happen. I like Stipe. I do. Dude, if I was Stipe walking in there, even though Stipe's a champ, he's been the champ, it's not his first go around, he's been in the fight game a long time, some part of you has to look at Francis Ngannou, even though you've beat him before. You beat him years ago. Some part of you has to look at that man right now and be like, dude, I don't want to get hit by him, and part of me don't even want to hit that dude. That'd be like hitting Yoel Romero. It's like hitting just go up there and fight a tree, punch a brick wall. That dude is solid. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try to do a fight companion for that one. We just won't be able to have the audio video that I was hoping to have last night, but I do want to do one of those moving forward. If you want to be a part of that, leave me a comment. We'll figure it out. We'll do Zoom or whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll get some people on here and we'll talk fights because I love talking fights. UFC all around. Bellator. Definitely excited for the Bellator fights coming up. I'm definitely a Bader fan, a Lima fan. So let's get after it, man. Let's talk fights. Let's have some fight companions. And it's going to be a great year for the UFC, a great year for TMF Apparel, a great year for everybody who just wants to stay positive. And I'll see you guys next time, but I hope you enjoyed this clip. Leave me some comments. Let's talk about it.